Hello, boys and girls. If you know the end of our show, Ian, you suck.
Sean,
What?
we, we we didn't take the show, man. we
Oh, I was just so
We did-
excited to tell Ian he fucking blows, especially after
Yeah.
this week. God, I was so excited. I was thinking about it all day. Ian, you just suck, man. You just suck. You suck.
You wanted
All
us
right, I
to,
guess we'll
he
do
wanted
the
us to
show.
talk about him on the show, so here we are.
Yeah, we're just chit chatting about Ian and
True.
how much he sucks, and let us tell you all the ways that he stinks.
He gets weepy when we don't talk about him.
Yeah, he
That's the
gets
best
real.
way I can just.
And
That's
then
the
he's
best
like a
way I can
puppy.
describe it.
They're watering, and you're just like, oh, you're so stupid, and you just want to put him in a bag and throw him off a bridge.
Jeez.
I got that went a certain way.
He wants us to talk about him, but he's not a narcissist at all.
Well, I'm not gonna say that we're narcissists, but we were the top 3 scorers of the week. The NAO show crew. Unfortunately, one of us had to lose. Womp womp womp. We'll get into that too. I promise
Yes,
I
sir.
won't cry.
You're all out of tears, aren't you?
I'm all out of tears. I'm sure that's a song.
It's not, but you were close, man.
It's by the band Meatloaf.
It's by the band Meatloaf.
That was a great band back in the day.
Great band.
Oh man.
All right, Marky Mark, get this train back on the tracks so we can get moving down this road.
Let's do it. Start off with the scores. Breaking news. You
Bum, bum,
might
bum.
say, who cares? But the tips dropped a deuce on the Pooh Crew. 93 to
Dang.
91. 93 to 91. They won by a deuce. Sean, you want to start this off? Talk about your good buddy Ian and
Well, I'd like
all
to
the
start
ways
this
he failed.
of deuce accuracy by a round of applause for the tips. We love to see it. We love to see it. You know, I was doing a little bit of math. I'm okay at it. And I was looking down here at the flex because, cheer up that flex,
Short the
That's
flex.
me.
Yeah. On brand.
And shoot. The Pooh Crew did not do well. He must not watch the show at all.
Nope.
Because he didn't even break 3 points in his flex. I'm not talking one flex. I'm talking all 3 flex positions. Nico Collins, just like we all knew he would, outscored his whole flex position by himself. You just love to see it. You just love to see it.
Congratulations, starting Mecole Hardman. Apparently, that's a big deal for Landon to nail that one. But
Yeah, I feel like somebody told him to start Hardman a couple times. I don't know. He might have been a host of a show. I can't think of the damn show. Mike, do you know what that show was?
I think I may have heard it.
My doubters can go back 2 weeks and check the tape. Been talking about it for 2 weeks.
Yo, shout out the Tennessee freaking defense putting up 19 freaking points. Didn't they have a pick 6 in that game?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I bet Ricky was sitting there watching that game going, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Watching his team get a freaking pick 6. And he knew that he played that defense against the Pooh Crew. The Dookie team.
So I know it's easy to go back and say, you should have started this guy, you should have started that guy. Normally, it doesn't matter. But I'd like a real answer, maybe from you guys and Ian as well later. How is ETN on the bench still?
You said it. I knew
I
you
think
were
that's
going to.
that's the only one. I mean, Monty. I get not starting Monty. That makes sense to me.
Something up. It's probably because James Robinson's there. Oh, wait. He isn't there.
Yeah, ETN's been
Well, he
trending up
was.
every week. So
He was this week. He's not anymore, but he was during the game. Just didn't do anything. I will give him a little bit of a break because he had two of those. 2.6 in the flex is not good, but two of those were early exits with injuries. But then Gallup with a big old goose egg, man. He was healthy. He played the whole game. I hate it as a Cowboys fan to see that, but
Hmm.
man, I was staring down Gallup in another league, and I was just like, man, it just doesn't feel right. So I'm glad that I did not take the lead from Puku in that one.
I think
In
he's
all
who I would have
fairness,
benched
that
for
is.
ETN. Actually,
What's that,
Say
Mike?
again, Mike.
I think he's who I would have benched for ETN. Actually, if I
Yeah, I
think
think
about
so.
it,
I
and
think so.
not like Gallup had the good matchup against Detroit. Giving up a lot of points, but he hasn't done anything since has come back yet. I'd have benched him until I saw something from him.
Yeah,
Let me
he's
ask a
really
question
still.
to you, Dallas fans. I I am a believer in Gallup, and I think you both really like Gallup's talent and what have you. Uh, do you think how he came back last time from injury came like a comet and played with reckless abandonment right out of the gate? That has affected how he's come out of the gate this time?
I,
I,
Don't all answer at once.
I got other ideas on it. I don't know about that. I think a bigger factor is that he's back early. He came back a little bit too early because
That
you
was a
remember
late
his
injury.
injury is what, the last game of the season,
Yeah.
right?
hmm
And
Mhm.
he was really too early and not 100%. So he's getting to where he's now getting to be where he could be 100%, but I have to wonder how much wear and tear and being out there playing less than 100% is affecting him. He's not quite the same guy though. You can see it.
Mhm.
What have you seen, Mike? You've been watching the games and
Yeah,
seeing what
yeah.
I'm seeing.
I think there is some of that. Obviously, when he's been gone for that long, I think Dak and CD are sort of picking up. I mean, Gallup was always going to be, like a true two, after Cooper left anyway. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. Some of my
Great point.
issue is play calling too. Not that it hasn't been. Play calling is great. That's why Cooper Rush did so well. And then we get Dak back, and the play calling sort of gets a little funky. So,
Yeah. And Dak didn't look great. He looked a little rusty. So
hmm
I don't know. We can't put it all on Gallup. And I do think he came back a little too early. But if he doesn't get another injury, which happens a lot when these guys come back a little too early, like we see with Dobbins, and you saw Godwin get the hamstring right away. Um, if they rush it back, they're liable to get another injury. So if he can stay healthy, he might get back up to 100% here. Dak will get back up to speed. Better days ahead for him, I think. It just wasn't the time to play him, especially when all they had to do was run the ball 30 times to beat Detroit, pretty much.
Well, speaking of timing, the tips really benefited from some perfect timing from Carolina and the 49ers moving CMC over to the 49ers, like I had said. Chuba Hubbard had a great day for the tips. I don't think he's the lead back by any stretch of the imagination. Deontay Freeman was definitely lead back without CMC in there. He went over 100 yards on I think it was like 21 carries. One
I
sec,
don't think it was
stay on.
that much. I think he didn't have that many carries.
He
Had
had
a lot of
15,
yards.
15
Yeah,
carries,
yeah,
118 yards on 15 carries.
yeah.
He averaged almost 8 yards a carry. So his 26-year-old ass was looking real good.
Yeah, Hubbard, if you look at the stats and the percentages from the game, he actually was ahead of him, but came out with an ankle injury. So we'll have
Mhm.
to see if he can get back in there or not. So really, I kind of thought Foreman would be the lead guy, but Chuba actually played ahead of him and did pretty well in the game, man. I'm sorry to see him go out because I haven't been a big believer in Chuba, but happy to see anybody overperform him, and he really did. So see if he can get back in there or not next week. You see, Kirk had a decent game. He'd been down a little bit, but he had a decent game finally and got some good points for him too. So yeah, it just
Well,
kind of all came.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I'm just going to finish up saying it all came together for for the tips on a down week for Ian.
I think what the deciding factor for Poo Crew was that Kelsey didn't have 4 freaking touchdowns to bail him out on Monday night. I think that's the thing.
So,
I'm not trying to bring
and
up.
Ian scored under 100 points. Is that the first time ever? Or I kind of seem to remember that maybe has he done this recently? Or
I don't think
I
he's ever
feel
scored
like it was pretty recently.
yeah, something's sticking. Something's sticking in my head.
It seems like he would have said something if he had.
Yeah, that's
He,
true. Yeah,
he
he
let
would have
us
brought
know.
it
He
up.
let us know that he had never scored under 100. I haven't seen any updates on that, so I'm gonna stick with the fact that he has never scored under 100 because that's the latest news I've seen from him.
He's a stand-up guy
I
like that.
remember all
Yeah,
the like
yeah,
the
yeah. He'd let us know for sure. Yeah. One last thing on his. Yeah, Taylor with only 12 and Barkley with 15.5. No TDs with those guys, so that's that was another big factor that kept him down this week. I don't know if Taylor's 100% either, but um, Barkley's been tearing it up, but 15.5, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll take it, but it's not what you would expect either.
no.
Mike, did you have something else? I'm not sure if I jumped in on you or
Oh
not.
no.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. We'll go on to our next score. This is the heartbreaker of the week. Like you say, Sean, you come in third in scoring and you have to lose it. That's a rough one. But Tank Top Mike 172, the Prince 125. You just ran into a buzzsaw this week. Even if you set your perfect lineup, you wouldn't have been able to get this one.
Nope.
I'll let you guys talk it out. This is your matchup, so
Go ahead, Mike. You are the victor, and victor goes the spoils.
Yeah, I admit, man, like we talked about last week, it's a little rough to bench Cooper Cup and Stephon Diggs in the same week and have to replace him with Pittman and Claypool, who only scored about 13 points between them. So yeah, but hey, you know the Gus bus has pulled in, and that's all that
I
matters.
was waiting for it.
Nice job, Josh Jacobs. I love what you're doing, but Gus is gone. That was a lot
All
of fun.
aboard
I
the
admit
party bus.
when I had Swift in there obviously, and when that news came out, that was pretty devastating. And I'm like, I feel like there's a good chance without Swift, this is going to be really close. I was between Gus Edwards and Khalil Herbert, and honestly, Gus Edwards in my lineup was more fun. I mean, even if he didn't do anything, it was just fun to have in my lineup. So here we go. Plus, it was a good matchup against Cleveland too. Anyway, like assuming he was healthy, but so that was a little bit part of it. But yeah, I figured let's just have some fun. Let's throw him in there. So it worked out.
So leading up into the second half of the day, uh, Joe Burrow threw up 39 points and Joe Mixon had 16. And I was like, man, a lot of it had already gotten me 14. My 1 and 2 punch is doing really good. Maybe I can steal one from the tank top this week. Because, yeah, didn't have Diggs or Cup, but you scored over 100 2 weeks ago, over 200 2 weeks ago, 150 last week, and then this week you have to drop another fucking 170 on me. So that's fine. That's fine. But real real life, I'm sitting there watching the Kansas City and San Francisco game. CEH gets a touchdown. I start celebrating. Literally 2 seconds later, Mark goes, Josh Jacob just got his third touchdown.
Yeah.
And I just stopped watching my phone. It was not my week. If I was gonna, I just knew it. I just knew it wasn't going to be my week again. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna have to lose, at least I'm gonna lose to the top dog in the league this week. So, congratulations there, Tank Top.
Sean's like, "Oh yeah, let's go." About the time he said, "Yeah," and "Oh yeah," I was like, "Oh, Jacobs just got a touchdown." It did. It came through at the same exact time,
hmm
and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go." What? What'd you just say?
That is really what just happened. You had to say it twice, and the second time, my soul just left my body, and I was
And I
just
was like, "Yeah, yeah, sorry, dude, but Jacobs just got another touchdown."
a third one.
He didn't even get to celebrate, man. Well,
I was like,
rough
on a
one
week
for
where
you.
Joe Burrow drops 40, I still don't even come close.
Yeah, I was watching that game. I was like, okay, like you can stop now. Like I still have Gus Edwards in, but but
Yeah,
yeah, that was a
yeah.
fun one.
Your rookies, Sean, continue to be solid for you. Olave, 14.1, Pierce 13.7. Man, it's great to be getting that kind of production out of rookies. So it's that you got better days ahead for sure because these guys are only going to get better. It looks like. Um, Fun fact though on Mike's side, Mahomes, Eckler, Jacobs, those were your studs. They scored 92.62. Ian scored 91.22.
That
So
that is a fun fact.
That
that's a
is a
real fun
great
fact,
fact.
man. You could have you could have set
Where's Nevin's what is it? Nevin's tips or whatever the heck he
uh
calls it?
Nav
Nevin's
Navx
nuggets.
Navx Nuggets. You got
Where the
landed.
hell's that been? Why didn't he drop that information on it? That's what the league needs.
So yeah, with three players, you would have beat him by what's that 1.4 points. So you could have kept Diggs and Cup in your lineup and still got it, man. So, but yeah, good week for you, man. That was crazy to have those two out and still score 172, man. Again,
Hmm.
I said it last week. I'll say it again this week, man. Sometimes the luck is just running your way, man. So hope it doesn't run out. I hope it keeps going, man. But that's yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was a really good week there, Tank Top.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Josh Jacobs is like I don't want to feel like I'm like rubbing it in, but like that is nuts. That's not something I saw
Yeah.
coming to this degree this season.
Oh, you
Well,
got him for
I can say on your behalf that in the offseason you were higher than most on Josh Jacobs.
Hmm.
And you actively went after and got him on your team. And when you did it, I was like, you know what, that could be a really sneaky get, especially in your position, trying to win. Adding Josh Jacobs as a depth piece to an already stellar running back room was a pretty pretty bodacious move on your part in the offseason. So hey, it's benefiting you, and I'm happy it's doing it.
The only thing I have to say left is honk, honk.
oh man. All right, let's move on to our third score. Let's take the bus Gus over to our third score here. We got Goofy F and Jace 121, FNG 115. And Goofy's had issues in the past with starting the right or wrong defense and winning or losing games because of it. But oddly enough, that's what lost it for FNG this week, man. Who wants to start us off on this one?
I think it's cool to see FNG in the running, making people sweat a little bit going up against him. He, speaking of rookies on my team, rookies on his team are freaking hitting and hitting heavy. With
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker doing 2 touchdowns, 168 yards. He had 29. He had 29 points just alone. That's freaking outstanding. I mean, if you're gonna draft somebody in the first round in a rookie league, you would love to see him start putting up 30 points a game.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Walker and Brees Hall going against each other. The only thing I noticed is that Goofy did not put Brees Hall across the lineup from Walker, which I would have expected around here. But yeah, that was pretty
Oh,
Who
cool to
does
see them in the same matchup. I mean, the big elephant in the room is Goofy's injuries going on, and Brees Hall's a huge one. But
I have some stats on that because I kind of honed in on that when I was looking at it. So Goofy on his 30-man roster right now, there's 14 that have an injury status. So
Wow.
that's Sean, you said you're good in math. That's almost half, man. Almost half of his guys have an injury status. He already has 4 in IR, and he's got 3 on his taxi that are IR status. So it is just not his year, man. It's just I mean, now I guess one good thing is that maybe it's still early enough to get some of these guys back, but man, that's just a whole lot of injuries, man. He's been bit by that bug big time this year, man.
Well, I mean, not to kill a dead horse, but he is 5-2 with that freaking lineup.
Yeah, no, yeah, he definitely. I mean, he's gotten it done, but you have to look at those injuries and and wonder. Yeah,
Double.
please, Sean, don't
Is that
don't
like
kill a
double
dead
tap?
horse. Don't kill a dead horse, man. So,
Well, it's better than beating it to death.
yeah, FNG, man, looking at his flex, Juju at 21.9 looks really good, but London, they decide not to pass in Atlanta anymore. And we saw what happened with Robinson. That was 1.4 between the two of those guys. And I honestly thought when looking at Monday night, I was like, man, FNG can get this done because Ramonde, I felt like Harris was probably still not 100% and didn't think he would
Mhm.
play a whole lot in this game, even though they had him active. So I figured, man, between Ramondre and what New England should have done to Chicago on defense, I thought, man, yeah, he can get this one easy. So Goofy kind of squeaked by with one because New England played like crap. I'm not sure if we have any New England fans in the league, but New England played like crap. So I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. But come on, man, what a mess!
Well, I
Chicago. It was
mean,
Chicago. It was Chicago in New England. What the hell?
I'm sure none of our fans will be upset about that statement for it being true. Like all of our fans are level-headed individuals that can see common sense. You know, so
Just
we
stating
should be okay.
stating the facts, man. Just the facts. So we'll move on. We got Who's Your Daddies 162, the DBs 98. So it only took me 7 weeks, but I finally lived up to my name. And at last I can say, Who's your daddy?
I appreciated you getting this win quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Helped you out a little bit there.
I was sitting on the couch next to Mark watching football. This guy breaks into freaking prayer to the fantasy football gods for a touchdown, and I'm not kidding, not lying. Literally 5 minutes later, the guy he was praying for, got a freaking touchdown. And I was like, well, it's your week. There's no way you're gonna freaking lose now. And the proof is in the pudding. He was second highest score, beat the top dogs in the freaking league, gave them their first big ol' L right on top of their foreheads. Good job there, Marky Mark.
Yeah, a lot of times we bring up touchdowns and the lack thereof, but if I just counted right, you had 9 touchdowns this week. So
Is that good? Is that good?
yeah,
Did I break it?
Yeah. It was my listen to my phone was much more enjoyable this week than it has been in previous weeks. So
Oh, let me tell you how it was sitting next to it. It was just dweep, 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 dweep. It was just like, can you shut the hell up now, please? Thanks.
yeah, because I had Chase and Boyd in 2 leagues, so yeah, that was nice.
I like
Yeah,
that you had.
I'd love to see a competition break out between Cincinnati wide receivers. They were trying to see who could outdo each other. I'm like, yeah, yeah, keep it going, guys. Um, and I finally had a Kittle sighting. He's been horrible for me. He's been my worst pick by far, and the toughest player for me to suffer through in over these last few seasons. But it was nice to finally see him get in there and do a little something. So DBs have a great roster. They just had an off week. And I looked at some of the scores and some of the players and looking at CD and like, oh well, they didn't pass much, and Dak wasn't real good. And you look at Lamar Jackson up there, and it's like, well, they ran the ball. They didn't really have to do much to beat Cleveland, So that just
Just but
caught them on the right week, man. Not taking anything away from the DBs. They'll bounce back, I'm sure. They still got an awesome roster. So
If you're gonna have to
Marky Mark,
play,
glad it.
if you
Huh?
have to play against CMC, you may as well do it the week he gets traded and doesn't know the playbook. So
Right, right, right. And he still did pretty well,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, but he was on a. They said he was on a snap count, and I'm like, yeah, right. Like they're going to keep him to 20 snaps, but I think he had maybe 22, if I'm not mistaken. So they were right there at it. So yeah, it all worked in my direction. I think I got to play them again. Yeah, because we were both bottom five last year, so I'll have to play them again. They'll get a chance for revenge. So let's see how that goes.
Mark, do you want to go into a little bit of your strategy in setting your lineup this week? I know there was a little strategy, a little gamemanship going into it. If you wanted to go into that, go ahead. If
Oh,
not, we can
I
keep moving.
will. I don't want to sound braggy, but I told you before the game that I was starting Pollard and Zeke, and I was starting Boyd and Chase, basically because they were really good matchups. And my strategy was if I get 30 points between the two of them, I'm still averaging 15, which is not bad. So that was basically it. I just decided to, instead of try to figure out which one to start. Of course, I'm going to start Chase. I'm not going to,
And
but I put in Boyd because I thought, hey, these guys can feast against Atlanta, and maybe they both get in the end zone. With Zeke and Pollard, it was more of I don't want to try to pick the one that's going to go off against Detroit, so I'm going to put them both in, and it ended up working out pretty well for me. It actually exceeded any expectations I might have had. So that was the strategy. Normally, you don't do that, right? You try to play the
right.
top man.
Unless you're
So
Aaron,
yeah,
That's why I
then
wanted
you
to
play the
bring it
whole
up
backfield.
because
right, let Mike go, Sean.
Unless you're Aaron, and then you play the whole backfield every week.
Yeah. All right, Sean.
and their tight end and the quarterback. Oh wait, that's two different teams. My bad.
Did you have something else there, Sean? Or
Yeah, I wanted just to bring that up because I thought it was so out of the norm to play two players from the same team the same week. I've ran into trade talks where a factor was I don't want two wide receivers from the same team. And not only do you have two wide receivers from the same team, but you played both of them
yeah,
on a good matchup and you benefited from it. I think that is not the norm. I don't think normally people would benefit for having two wide receivers like that week in, week out. But you saw it on the paper, like, hey, they're playing Atlanta. They're probably gonna boom this week. You might as well roll the dice against the top dogs in the league, huh?
yeah, going against Atlanta and Detroit with those four players, I was like just thinking everybody can feast, and I just didn't have anything to lose, man. I was my projection. There was not. I couldn't do anything in projections to raise it up and make it more even. So I kind of had to just go for broke, and that's what it did. So all right, we'll move on. Go on to the next score here. We've got the A Bombers 96, Silly Dilly 69. We got another low scoring matchup for A Bomb, but fortunately it comes against the bottom teams the last 2 weeks, and he gets the win again.
I think what stands out to me on this one, and maybe because it burned me in another league, his nickname for Mark Andrews is the only reason Lamar has passing touchdowns, and he did not have a touchdown.
Sure didn't.
That is yeah, like you said, if you're gonna get half a point from Mark Andrews, you may as well go against Silly because he's out there somewhere. So he's out there somewhere, and he's starting James Conner. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not going to make him upset at all that you mentioned that James Conner didn't play at all on Thursday night. So
yeah, that
I'm
was
sure
tough.
like he'll have like a level reaction to that.
Hey, I mean, we
I
all
think
miss things, I guess, but I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Been
I
there
think
for
it
sure.
was kind of funny that it was such a low scoring affair when Abom's the guy that's usually setting records and hitting those 200 marks and he doesn't even break 100 points and he still gets the W against freaking Dilly Willy over here.
I admit I got a little nervous for Aaron in the Monday night game when old Zappy came in. I was like, he's gonna be slinging that thing around, and the first drive touchdown. I'm like, oh, Jacoby's about to go off.
Yeah, Zappy. I don't know. Everybody's calling for him, but I don't know if they'll be
Is
calling
he the
for him
real deal?
anymore.
Do y'all think he's the real deal?
I mean, I don't. I don't.
I'm not trying to brag on myself. I took him as a giant flyer, as a freaking another quarterback. But man, there must be something to him if Belichick is playing him over his first round pick there. You know.
I don't think Mac Jones is ready, man. He's not 100%. He tried it. It didn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
Not that Mac Jones is the next coming or anything, but Zappy is just he played at I don't know, some kind of junior college or Christian school, and 1 year in with Western Kentucky there. He had a great season there, but I still don't, in my evaluation of him, I wasn't paying attention to him. And ironically, when there was so much of a kerfuffle over the picking up of Zappy on Sunday during game time, at the end of it, I was like, did we really go through all of this shit for Bailey Zappi? Give me a freaking break, man.
Who the hell wants Bailey Zappi?
Why is he even picking him up? But he's my cousin. I love him, man. So I won't say anything. But I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think either one of them is really the long term future. It seems like. I think though that it's more. I think it's just Belichick. I think obviously he's got to be the greatest coach, and a lot of this is showing why. I mean, the dude can coach these generic, like
Yeah.
guys, and I'm sure they lost, but like the Patriots aren't getting blown out really too much, I suppose. When the offense does not look normal, but it's not horrendous or anything. I
Yeah.
think,
Mhm.
but I know I've seen some rumors after the game that both guys could be on the trade, or well, Zappy won't be, but like Mac Jones could be on the trade block. And then you start to look at the strength of the quarterbacks coming out next year, and like, are they just going to do that, in the draft? So who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I don't think there's a lot to say there. I will tell you this though. I did another fun fact, and I don't know. I've got to do a wellness check on Dylan to make sure he's checking his lineup and being up to date on it. Maybe he thought Connor was going to play there. I know it was it was questionable going in, but I kind of felt like on a Thursday he wasn't going to play, so maybe he just missed it. But if he
He was
plays,
just rolling the dice.
huh?
He was just rolling the dice, and it came up snake eyes
Yeah.
on him.
Well, if he plays Danny Dimes and Gibson in this game, he gets 28.22 more points, which would have given him 97.08 and the win. So I don't know. I mean, it might have been his last best chance to get a win. And I think A Bomb should be counting his blessings right now.
I heard
Maybe
another podcast this morning that got released and it was actually directed towards Silly of if you're going to trade for Gibson, why don't you start
why is he on your bench, man?
him?
I think that's a fantastic question.
your
Whoever
best
asked that was a very astute person.
your best young player, and he's sitting on the bench while you got a goose egg going for Connor. I felt bad for him. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to check on him, make sure he's still checking and setting the lineup. And I don't want him checking out halfway through the season. We still got to play the games.
I was rooting for you, Dilly.
Yeah, he had a chance. He had a chance. Not that he would have started Danny Dimes, but interesting to note that if he did. All right, that brings us to the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week, which goes to a big dill, our friend Dylan, silly Dilly. And it was nice enough to send over we still have to talk about the lineup stuff, but it was nice enough to send over a little message to us.
What a
To
class act. You
yeah,
really
I tell
love
you,
to
man.
see it,
All right. I had to clean it up a little bit too, as you might expect.
Oh, yeah, we totally understand.
Couple abbreviations here, but I think you'll get the idea. So he says you CSMFers are just lucky they cut out the end of the real NAO show. Y'all know where you can shove your award.
Well,
So
thank you,
Yeah.
Dilly, for sending in those very, very kind words into the show. We'll take it into consideration, and yeah, we'll take this award and shove it up your ass.
So eloquent.
oh, there goes our rating, man. There goes our we just went from PG-13 right up to R, man. Thanks a lot, man. We talked they talked a lot about that on the real NAO show. There you are. There you are. Of course I used the S word earlier, so wouldn't mind to say anything. All right, Mike, you wanna go over the standings?
I sure do, because I'm in first place.
Thought you might want to talk about the standings.
He's
Were
been
there
waiting
any
all
moves?
show there, Marky Mark.
Were there any movers and shakers in the standings
Yep.
this week?
I'm in first. On to the next segment.
Well, you're skipping over another one that I
Yeah, I
know
was gonna
Sean.
say it's really of no shock that I'm in first place, if we're being honest. The real shock here,
Points.
by a lot of points,
By points.
a lot of them. The real shocker here is I didn't go back every week, but is this the first time that Ian is not in a playoff spot? This it definitely is
Oh,
this far into the season. But I think even like the first weeks, he always made it into a playoff spot, and now he's sitting at fifth in the Who Cares Bowl.
in the Who Cares Bowl? Well, shoot.
I
Have we
think
done
you're right about that.
a check on Ian? We haven't heard from him complaining about anything lately. Do we know if he's okay? Him
Yeah.
being in the Who Cares Bowl?
Well, he's got a wife and kids and a mortgage and trucks and whatever, so you can't expect him to do this all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, who cares? Sometimes you just gotta mail it in.
I really do. I think this is the first time he's been out of the playoffs. This definitely is this far into the season. So
You know what? I have a feeling like it feels right. Like he's in the right spot, you know?
that's
Like
true.
he's really doing well with himself and
Mhm.
his life's really getting down that straight and narrow. He's right where he needs to be. In the Who Cares Bowl, right where he needs to be.
By
Mike
points.
not only got first, but you got a decent point lead right now. Got a nice little cushion there.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had some big weeks like Sean was talking about. So and I think the DBs did increase their leads slightly over A bomb, but not by
It's by 1 point.
not by a
A little less
whole
than 2
lot.
points. A little less than 2 points.
So it was a good chance for either one of those teams. So we got the top three in scoring, A bomb a little lower in the standings, but you got your chance to increase the lead, and neither one of them took advantage of it. So, but Mike did. Mike's way on up there now.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that they I in a high scoring week for me finally. If I can put another couple together, I'm glad that they didn't distance themselves too much. I picked up a little bit. I still got a long ways to go, but
Yeah.
neither one of them really took advantage of that.
That 4 or 5 win group is, and like obviously we're going to get into matchups into next week, but there's some pretty good playoff implication matchups, and obviously like what we're a third, fourth done with the season or so. So
Yep.
yeah, we're starting to actually
Halfway.
have to look at who you're playing and need to win and what other teams are
Yeah,
doing too.
yeah.
So
Actually, exactly the halfway point. Week 7 is the halfway point. So 14 game.
Congratulations, Mike, for being the first team this year going over 1,000 points for.
you
I'm
noticed.
just behind. I'm just behind you in the points against. All I need is 50 more points, and I hit that 1,000 points against me.
Yeah, that points against of yours is rough.
It's.
Alrighty, well, let's move on to the matchups. We're going to start out with the marquee market matchup of the week. We just talked about you guys a lot. We're going to talk about it again. We got Tank Top Mike going up against the DBs, number 1 and number 2.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, Mike, you got Mahomes on bye, but you get Diggs and Cup back. Are you going to drop a deuce on the DBs this week? By
I
deuce,
know.
I mean a 200.
I would like to. That'd be,
You hit 172. Sorry, you hit 172 without Diggs and Cup, so 200 is not out of the question, right?
I feel it
Nope.
coming. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Um, I would certainly like it. I have. There's one roster spot I'm still kind of tinkering with as we go into, unfortunately, tomorrow. Do I want to ride the Gus bus? Is where I'm at for another week,
Right, right.
but he's in there because it's still super fun. But yeah, this is a this I feel a lot better with Cup and Diggs in the lineup. Like I said, I it just feels better in there.
Oh
I'm
yeah, of
glad that
course.
Tua came back. I made exactly 0 moves at quarterback, just hoping. Like at one point, I had Mahomes, and then I had Tua, who obviously was busy watching McGruber apparently, and Winston still can't play. So I took a little bit of a risk, and Tua thankfully came back in time to save me. Otherwise, I didn't really have any options.
You're gonna start praying that Taysom Hill's tight end allocation would change to quarterback,
Yeah,
so you could play with the quarterback position.
yeah, that was a little dicey, but I can't. I pulled through. Tua pulled through for me, so he'll steal some points from Tyreek Hill, and that's all I need.
I think this is a great matchup coming into this week. You both are tied. Well, not technically tied because TikTok Mike has more points, and that's
So
what we
many
go
more.
off of. Plenty more. But the records are tied at 6-1. You got Mahomes down, so you're gonna play Tua, which is kind of fun to look at because he's got Taysom Hill coming. That dynamic is kind of fun, and both your teams are looking like they're gonna be pretty almost, pretty almost to top notch. You're not missing your top wide receivers this week. You dropped 170 on me last week, like Mark said. And Swift is looking like he's a full go this week.
I
Full
am
Love
missing
seeing
practice.
the RB1 though, so
Full practice today. I saw that as good news for you, Mike.
yeah, I feel good about that. A full practice is nice.
I think they just gave him an extra week to get closer to 100%.
I
the
think
DBs were uh, the DBs were happy to see Hopkins come back week one of after his suspension, and he just killed it. Just wait until this week though. And they have a full week of practice. There's not going to be any fades to Rondell Moore in the corner when you have a fucking over 6 foot wide receiver in D Hop.
Still trying to figure that one out.
It was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, the DBs have their full complement of players. It should be a good one. I see a lot of green and orange on your side, Mike, and yeah, it's just should be a good one. You got to figure that after a down week like that, the DBs will bounce back. It's
Definitely.
it's that roster is just too good to have two stinkers like that. So I'm looking forward to a good one there. And the winner will have a 1 game lead and maybe not points, but at least a 1 game lead for the top
hmm
spot. So we'll have to see. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We got the Pooh Crew going up against Goofy effing Jace. Goofy up there in third, Pooh Crew back in fifth, and just wondering if Goofy can keep Pooh Crew in the Who Cares Bowl with all those injuries that we talked about. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this was the other one I was looking at in terms of standings because obviously,
Yeah,
if Goofy can hold him out, that'd be pretty incredible actually. Like you said, with
yeah.
the injuries,
Mhm.
it's going to be tough, but yeah, this one's going to have some playoff implications for sure. But it looks like Goofy. I mean, well, it looks like Goofy has uh, the upset chance. One of those, who knows who could go off for Goofy. Somebody's, but I don't know. This one's going to be tough for him, unfortunately.
Well, it seems like the Pooh Crew knew what we were going to talk about tonight on the show because he put ETN in the lineup. He dropped Gallup out of the lineup probably after his less than stellar game. He still has St. Brown in there, who's questionable, who I think started the game and left with a concussion last week, right? I think that's what happened, unfortunately.
Was he out with the concussion again? I thought that was it.
Yeah,
Man,
it was, and then he was limited today.
yeah.
I think the Poo Crew might have to make a couple more decisions, but Jimmy G is rocking in the quarterback position. Herbert's on bye, I'm assuming. Yep, he's on bye. So he didn't want to start Mills over Jimmy G. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he can get a little stack action between Debo and CMC.
I think the Packers game is going to be big for this one. They've got 4 Packers in this game going. So Goofy always seems to have like 2 teams that he plays a lot of. This time it's the Packers.
What do you think the Dallas Cowboys defense is going to go against Chicago? How many points are they going to put up this week?
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
even want to say, man, because I thought Patriots are going to put up a bunch against Chicago, and I don't know. All of a sudden, Fields was good, and
I'll take it.
man,
I heard
they got
that
the running
Fields
game
is
going.
he's passing at like a 1940s NFL level or something like that.
Right,
Like the
right,
volume.
yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? If I'm any defense, I'm going to do quarterback spy because Fields is starting to play pretty well. And it's a lot of design runs, a little bit of scrambling, but man, when it's like now that they have to they have to be so careful on the run, it's opening up the pass game, and he's getting stuff going. It was crazy, man. I was like, man, this is not the same guy I watched a couple of weeks ago. He looked really good. I wouldn't call it against Dallas. I mean, Dallas got a great defense, but I don't know, man. Ask about how many points Dallas is going to score. I'm like, I don't even want to hazard a guess after what I saw on Monday night. Yeah, he's got that Jimmy G Debo stat. Woo! Debo with his 6.9 points last week or something like that. How many
Uh,
how many did Ayuk have, man?
ooh,
Because we got kind
he
of a
had more than
running
that.
we got a running thing going with that. So yeah,
He had
he had 11 something, didn't he? So
he had 11.7. I think that's more there, Marky Mark.
yeah. We might win that one. I made a bold call, but part of that was based on Trey Lance being the quarterback,
Trey Lance being the quarterback.
and none of that was based on CMC being on the team. So, but I think that CMC is going to hurt Debo because why you got to run Debo when you got CMC back there, right? So
And this
Hey,
game is
Top
against
Mike,
the
wouldn't you?
Rams. So I think they're going to want to showcase what the Rams could not trade for.
yeah, we got CMC and you don't.
I think Tank Top Mike said it best. I think CMC was obviously holding back the Panthers.
Yeah.
Still a sore subject, but yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, they won and the
Got his
Niners lost. So it's the only common denominator there is CMC.
The only one. Got it.
yeah. Before we move on, it's just kind of desperate times for Goofy with all the injuries. It looks like he put together his best lineup. The projection is 98.67, so it's kind of sad. He's missing a lot of guys. So, um, yeah, he's up in third, and I know he's trying to hold on. Tough, tough matchup to go against Poo Crew this week, who's going to be doing everything he can to get back up there in the playoffs. He doesn't like it down here, and who cares? We spent a lot of time down here, Sean, you and I, so we can get him up to speed.
I can show you all the best watering holes down
Yeah,
here, and
yeah,
who cares?
yeah. We can Yeah, we'll make him feel right at home. Hopefully, he's still down here with us, man. We'll make him feel right at home. All right, we'll move on to the next matchup. That is the Hoosier Daddies versus the Prince. We
Why's your
got the.
name got to be first? Huh? Why's your name got to be
That's-
first on this?
I'm pretty
Huh?
sure that's the way it showed up in the league page. Hoosier. Well, of course, it would
Oh,
show
because
up
you have a
first
better
for
record?
me.
Oh, I see
It
how
would
it
show
is.
up for me
All right.
anyway. But yeah, anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. Family feud here as we both try to stay within striking distance. I'll let you start it out, Sean.
Oh, great. And I get the start. Okay, so I have everyone. I'm going to win. Your team sucks. I should be 4-2. Done.
Jeez, 4-2. What other 2 games should you have won?
If I had his record, his schedule, I wouldn't have had to face the whole fucking top half and then get DBs who's supposed to be a bottom 4 team, but no, they're one of the top teams. So, yeah, thanks. Congratulations, you won the Who Cares Ball. It's gonna be harder for you this
Did
year.
we
Got it. Thank you.
did we look at that though? Didn't you look at that and say, oh, you know what? I wouldn't have won anyway.
I would have had 2 more wins.
You would have had 2 more wins.
Yeah.
I thought you looked at it and you said it wouldn't have made a difference. But
I
I
was I
don't.
was just trying to remember what my scores were, but I looked into it more, and I would have had 2 more wins.
Yeah. I
I would
mean,
have been 4-3.
I definitely wouldn't have the record I do if I wasn't playing the bottom 4. So I don't doubt that you might have been doing better. But yeah, I'm looking at it. You got one tough matchup for Pierce going against Tennessee, but otherwise, I like most of the matchups you got. So you definitely should get some good production out of your top guys, I think. And Pierce could still do it. Pierce is they're
Mhm.
still, they're still giving him the ball. He's getting 20, 25 touches a game. So,
Yeah.
you play him because of the volume. Tennessee might shut him down, but you got to put him in there. I'd have him in there too if I, you know,
With
if I,
Kansas City being on bye, I don't have any other option besides
right,
maybe
right,
Darrell Henderson,
right.
and it seems like there isn't a running back in, Rams territory that anybody likes. Sean McVay's just firing everybody, trying to fire and, trade everyone that plays a running back position in that team.
I think Waddle's primed for a pretty big game for no particular reason that I have personally. So I think you could look there for some solid points.
Appreciate that. That'd be great. I really would love Schultz to have a career game against Chicago. That'd be real nice too. Oh, and breaking news, as you'd like to say, Marky Mark, I do not have Jerry Judy in my starting lineup, and it feels wonderful. So therefore, if you have Jerry Judy in another league, you should go ahead and start him because he's going to actually have a good day because he's not in my starting lineup. Just like last week, where he didn't have Russell Wilson and scored the second highest score that he's had all year. Thank you, Russell Wilson. You can die now. Thank you.
Think Russ is trending towards playing. Have you guys heard about that?
I think so. He was working out on the airplane.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
8-hour flight and he had a 4-hour workout. I, s- I legit would have got up and just like smacked him with my
Mhm.
freaking carry on, man.
All the linemen just freaking blanket
sit,
party him.
sit the hell down, man. What the hell?
We've got enough of your bullshit, Russ. Shut the hell up and sit in your seat.
Yeah. Well, I looked at the projections for everybody this week and there's 5 teams projected higher than me. So this is my, that's the thing with me. It's like every week I'm like, my projection is just so low and I every week saying I got to overachieve or I got to play the bottom 4 guys, Um, so I just might be where I belong. I don't know. Unless they start overachieving on a regular basis, it's just kind of where I am right now. So you what do you got? Like 125 to 114 or something was the last time I looked at it. Yeah,
Yes,
125 to
sir.
114. And
I am
I can't
fourth
do and I
in
can't do much
projection.
better. Yeah, I can't do much better. I mean, I can tinker, but I can't do much better. So they got to overachieve. And these things, it's not the gospel, but they tend to, I saw something recently that said, with sleeper, if you just start the top guys that you projected, you have the highest percentage chance of winning and all that. It makes sense. I mean, they're pretty good about all that stuff. So, of course, funny, crazy things happen like last week, but most of the time, that's about where I've been. Been under
Well,
100 a couple of times.
I've got good news for you there, Marky Mark. You're playing me, so therefore you got to add 30 points to your
Yeah, you get a
overall
bonus.
average score, and that is what you're going to get against. So if you do 170 again or 150 again, I think you'll be all right. There ain't no way I'm doing 180.
So here's to keeping you in the poo.
Yes.
All right, man. There we go. I have hope. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We got the A Bombers versus FNG. Unfortunately, the last I looked at this, it didn't look like FNG had set his lineup. Even if he does get it, from what I was looking at, he's gonna, he's not projected to hang in well with A Bomb. So, what do you guys think about that?
I have
Look
no
good.
idea how this game is going to go. I just
Did
have
he set
I
it?
have no idea, really. I feel like Josh Allen is probably primed for a big game after what Aaron Rodgers was saying about that, and that's
Ooh, what was he saying? I didn't hear.
um, basically that they're like underdogs going into Buffalo and like they could beat them and stuff and whatever.
Yeah, something like the best thing for us right now is going to play Buffalo. Kind of like,
hmm And
yeah,
now I
we
guess it's
just
like the first time that Aaron Rodgers is a double-digit point underdog.
It's because his
uh,
fucking team stinks, and he's playing against one of the best teams in the league. That just so happens to be the Buffalo Bills. That guy's an idiot. That guy must have been high as hell when he was saying that stuff.
might have been.
But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. Both of these teams could score anywhere from like 90 to 140. And I don't know. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah, for A Bomb, we got to see what's going on with Mark Andrews. Was he down last week because of injury? I think he tried to say that they were bracketing him. Possible. I didn't see the game, so I don't know. But is he seriously hurt, or was it just an anomaly this past game? Because yeah, I mean that's a lot of times one of his highest scorers, not somebody getting half a point.
Well, I'm in a weird position where I have to root somebody with the same record as me to go against somebody that's just above me to get a loss because I need a lot of help in the record win loss record. So FNG, if you got it in you, go get him.
Yeah, he's got to get that lineup set still, and but like I say, even me just doing the math in my head didn't look like he had enough to match the projection of A Bomb, who's Buffalo's back in the lineup, so he's got all his Buffalo guys in there.
It's kind of like Goofy with Green Bay.
Yeah, yeah,
Freaking Abom rocks everybody that plays in Buffalo.
yeah. Maybe you can give A Bomb a fight, but I don't know. It's not looking great on paper. Have to see how this one shakes out. A Bomb has been, sorry, not A Bomb. FNG has been, he's on the rise though. I think he's going to
Yeah,
be a
yep,
force to be reckoned with. Yeah.
he's got a bunch of draft capital, which is why I, the first captain of our pro ball team, drafted him as one of our managers, and it's going to benefit us for years to come. Uh, oh yeah, just so you guys all remember, my team won the Pro Bowl. I have a trophy, so yeah. Uh, how's that feel? How's that feel? Yeah. Who cares about that, right?
I
Yeah.
do.
Not to not to kill a dead horse or anything, but
Well, this week's show
oh,
was.
oh, oh,
Oh, are we not done? Do we have to
We
talk
got one.
about Ian sucking again?
We got one more matchup. One more matchup. We don't have to talk about it long, but this is the barn burner of the week right here. We got just the tips versus silly dilly. We
Oh, and
got
that's our show. Thanks, y'all, for
yes.
coming.
Come on, man. This is a barn burner. Dude, projection 92.65 to 92.33 for Dylan. We're talking about 0.22 points difference in projection right now. I mean, this is going to be something right here. If it's, there's no playoff implication. It's not as exciting as Goofy and Pooh Crew. But come on, man. This is the bottom four bash right here.
Silly is on I just checked. This is obviously not surprising. The longest streak to open up a season without a win.
Ooh.
We had Jay Hill go 2-11 year one, and I can't remember how many wins F and G had last year, 2 or 3, but
3.
yeah. So Silly is on a roll. So history is currently being made.
Dilly, when you're listening to this, remember that was Mike that said that, and he is the CS, all right? Not me. Last time you made a comment, and it was towards me, and I was rooting for you last week. I'm rooting for you this week. That was Mike. That was Tank Top Mike. Thank you. So, in other news, I think you should, as the one of the commissioners of this fine established league, you should make it a race to 100. First one to 100 gets the win, regardless of outcome. Let's make this interesting.
Well, I tell you, for the tips, I don't know how they're going to do it without Hardman this week. He's on bye. So
He scored a lot of points last week, didn't he?
he did.
Mm-hmm.
He did, man. So that's a tough blow to, Hardman finally has his breakout and now he's on bye. So tough luck
He's
for
going to
the
cool
tips,
off.
man. And I think there's going to be some lineup changes coming from Dylan. I don't think he's going to roll with what he has there.
He
I
has
was
James
happy.
Conner in there. That worked out last week for him.
I was actually happy for him to get a good game out of Benjamin. We talked about. I told you last week we were both kind of high on him and hoping he'd get a chance, and he did his thing. But unfortunately, he doesn't have much to pair him with. Maybe he'll have Eno and Antonio Gibson will be his RBs 1 and 2. Maybe get Danny Dimes in there, a little bit of rushing upside. Maybe he can do a little something, get that first win. Halt the
Fun
streak.
fact: 4 tight ends are playing in this game. Man, it's gonna be awesome to watch.
Oh, that is sucky.
4 tight ends, 2 on
Oh,
each
wow.
side.
See, that is not the definition of shoring up the flex.
That is the exact opposite. You should not do that.
Yeah, that's wait, dude. I've had to do that before. You're in trouble when you're flexing a tight end.
Unless you're A-bomb and the guy plays for Buffalo and you're
Yeah.
playing the Prince, the guy goes for 13, 14 points. Yeah. So there's that. I think this is gonna be a kind of fun game to watch. It's kind of like a car crash. You just kind of it's gonna be real bad, but you can't look away, and you want to stand around and sip your coffee and watch them clean up the mess. That's exactly what this matchup is all about.
Well, it had to happen, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it won't. No, this is the only time it's gonna happen. That's the only time. I keep thinking Dylan was bottom 4, but he was top 4 or bottom 5, but he was top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is it, man. This is the one time that we get to see these two teams play this year.
Are we gonna make a couple predictions? Who do we think is gonna win this game? Tank Top Mike, what do you think?
Nobody wins this game.
Everybody loses. I think I'm gonna have to second that. If Silly Dilly plays James Conner again, hopefully he plays. I think that'll be the deciding factor. It can't be one of those 4 tight ends that are playing. Maybe Pitts
Connor
will actually see some targets.
Connor might get back on the field this week. I think if Dylan sets the right lineup, he'll get it. think he can get his first win. I hate to say it, it could be his only win, but because he's still playing that top 5 schedule, man, that's brutal for what's going on with his roster right now. So
Well, I mean, this is kind of the blowback of all of his success last year. You know what I mean? Like we all thought he was really overachieving with his lineup, and he was catching guys on low days, and he was setting max lineups like week in and week out, and it's kind of come back and bit him in the ass this year. But like you always like to say there, Marky Mark, brighter days are ahead. There's always the draft in next year.
there you go.
That is our week 7. Week 7 in review. Yes, I lost, and I was the third highest score again. And Tank Top Mike is first. Are you first?
Huh?
And if anybody cares, who crews in the Who's Care Ball? Cause he sucks.